Okay, hello and welcome to Riverside County Law Library's virtual resource fair featuring presentations from the Riverside Superior Court Self-Help, which we just saw, the Lexis Digital Library, which is happening now, Inland Counties Legal Services, Inland Empire Latino Lawyers Association, and the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Plus from the library. You're in listen-only mode and can put questions into the chat, which I'll be monitoring. The link for all the presentations is the same all day, and each session will be recorded. We're also raffling off a prize, and I'm going to put the link to enter the raffle in the chat. If you've already entered from the last session, it's only one entry per person, so you are already entered. So thank you again for joining us, and I will hand it over to Andrea from Lexis Digital Library to talk about that feature.
Perfect. Thanks, Jenna. I am going to go ahead and share my screen here. And hopefully everyone can see the Riverside County Law Library website. If you can't, please let us know, but I'm going to start here because chances are this is where you would start if you were looking for the ebooks that are available within your law library. When you come onto the page here, you'll be able to see all of the research options that you guys have access to. To find your quick link to the LexisNexis Digital Library, this might be the easiest way for you to access it. You can go to research and then click on ebooks. And that is going to take you directly to your LexisNexis Digital Library ebook options. So the library staff has laid it out very easily for you. If you do not currently have a digital library account, you can reach out to the library directly. Their email address is here, and you can also click on this request access. It'll just ask for a few pieces of information, and that will allow the library staff to create an ID for you. They've also added links to all of the titles you have access to, quick help guides, and then at the very bottom is a link to log on to the Lexis Digital Library. If you already have your login information, you can click on this and it will take you to a sign-in screen. If you've already logged in for the day, when you click on it, it will actually just take you to the digital library. So first thing to do is get a digital library ID from your library staff. Second thing is once you have that login information, get into the digital library. So that's the way you can get in from the Riverside County Law Library homepage. Once you're in, you can also just bookmark this site. So this URL is unique to your law library. It's lexisdl.com/library/RC Law Library. That link never changes. So if you bookmark it on any of the devices you're using, you'll always be able to access your library sign-on page. Now, I did mention, I said you can access it via any of the devices you're using. The digital library was really created for a mobile user. So we do have an offline reading app. You can download it by going to either the App Store or the Google Play Store for Android users, and just search for LexisNexis Digital Library. When you download it, it's completely free. It'll ask you to sign in just like you would if you were using your computer to sign in. The only difference is that it will ask you for a library code at first. And that library code is listed here. It's just RC Law Library. And it's also always just the end of your URL. It'll just ask you that one time, and then you'll sign in. And everything I'm showing you on the computer, you'll be able to do via the app. On either your phone or a tablet. So just keep that in mind. Everything I'm showing you, you can do on any device that has access to either the internet or the app that you download. Once you log in, this is going to be your home screen. Everyone's home screen is unique to their login. So we're currently looking at my homepage. So it's going to show you my recently read, any notes and highlights that I've added. But yours will all look a little different. So it'll show you all of your unique information. On the left-hand side will always be where you can go to navigate through the digital library. So it defaults to the home page, but you'll have a browse library, my books, my annotations, export queue, and tag section that you can jump into. You can always jump into any of your recently read titles or your notes just by clicking on them from the home page. So keep that in mind if you just know you want to get back to California Forms of Pleading and Practice, Volume 2, you can click Read and immediately jump back into it. If you click Browse Library, your library staff has gone through and actually created curated collections to make it a little easier for you to find specific content that you might be looking for. The very first thing you see is the Book to Action Equity Collection. This is going to be a number of popular titles based off of diversity and equity. What's really amazing is that your library staff has added these titles, and they're not just ebooks, there's also audiobooks available. So you can access both of these via the LexisNexis Digital Library. A lot of times we think of the LexisNexis Digital Library as just legal books, which primarily it is. You're going to see all of those print books from Lexis that you're used to on the bookshelves, available in an ebook format. But what really makes it great is that you're able to also add titles from other publishers, so not just from the Lexis world. And your library staff has gone through and added these titles so that you can access them via the digital library. So that's the first collection. If you see just the collections in general, you'll see these first 6 titles expanded out. The collections are usually larger than 6 titles. You can always get to the entire collection either by clicking on the collection name, or if you see on the right-hand side here, it says see all 18 titles. If you click on either that or the title itself, it'll just take you to all titles within this collection. If we're scrolling down a little further, you'll see that there's the frequently used titles. This is going to be a collection of the most often used volumes within the digital library. So you can quickly jump into all of these. And at the bottom, there's a California practice collection. That's going to be all of your California specific materials. And then at the very bottom, you'll see a recently added collection. This is going to be a collection of all of the newest editions or releases for titles within the digital library. And if we keep going, you're going to see a list of hyperlinks by subject. If you click see all 65 subjects, that's going to take you to an alphabetical listing by jurisdiction, practice area, and content type. So you can quickly see what's included within the digital library. Your digital library is pretty robust, so you have access to a number of different titles. Some are single standalone volumes, some are part of large multi-volume sets. But if you just wanted to see everything that's California specific, you can click California. If you were looking for something specifically on copyright law, you can click on copyright, and it will just take you to those specific titles. I'm going to jump back into Browse Library, just so we can use an example here. If I scroll down, we'll just look at one of the California Forms of Pleading and Practice. One of the really nice things is if you're scrolling through and you see exactly the volume that you need. So say volume 30 here is exactly what I need. I can click read and immediately jump into that title. There's also these 3 dots to the right-hand side. When I click on those, I can view a cover, a larger cover image if I need to. I can view a hyperlink table of contents and additional details. I also have access to prior releases, and I can create tags on titles. I'm going to talk about tags in a minute, but just know that those 3 dots will give you quick access to a handful of other options for this one specific volume. If I still want a little bit more info, maybe I'm not sure if volume 30 here is exactly what I need, I can click on the title itself, and that's going to take me to what we call a book details page. Now, this is going to tell you all of the information you've ever wanted to know about this one title. Everything from author information up at the top here. If we scroll down, you'll see on the left-hand side, you'll get edition information, how many copies are available. All of the titles are available as one copy. If no one has borrowed that one volume, it'll say read. So that means it's available. If for some reason someone has already checked out that one volume that you need, rather than saying read, it will say place a hold. You can place as many holds as you need to on titles. What that does is it will then ask you for your email address. And as soon as that title becomes available, you'll receive an email from Lexis and Overdrive that tells you that that title is now available for you to read. And it will have a link for you to jump back to the digital library and immediately access that title. So it's pretty simple. You just click place a hold if you need to, and put in the email address that you want to receive that notification to. A little further down, you'll also have a copy title link. You can jump in here, copy the link to this page if you need to. You can share it amongst other users. So if you know someone else has access to this library, you can actually send them a link to this title and they can click on it for themselves. And also tags. I mentioned tags before. I think of tags as quick links to my most used titles. You can name them whatever you want. You can create as many tags as you'd like. Those tags are all unique to your login information. So no one else will ever see them. We don't touch the tags at any point here at Lexis. They will stay there indefinitely until you either delete the tag yourself or you delete your user ID. So you can feel free to create as many as you like or name them whatever you want. For today, I'm just going to type in CA practice, create new tag, and create. And you'll see it, it's probably a little small on your screen, but it does pop up and it says CA practice here under my tags. And now the next time I want to jump into this volume, it'll be both on my homepage and under the My Tags section of my digital library. So again, it's just a quick link so you don't have to search for this volume over and over again if you know you're going to keep accessing it multiple times. On the right-hand side, I know there's a lot more info here. We have everything from hyperlinked table of contents. So every individual volume within the digital library will have a table of contents here. You can actually expand all the sections out. For large volumes, you'll see that each chapter, subchapter, so on and so forth, everything is hyperlinked. So if you like to scroll through the table of contents, you can quickly take a look, find exactly which section you're interested in, and click on it. It will jump right to that specific section within this volume so that you don't have to search for it after. Couple other really neat features. Just close that up here. You'll have a description and details. You'll have quick links to every volume within this set. So if you suddenly remember that you needed volume 31 instead of volume 30, you can jump right into that other volume right from here as well. And then you also have access to prior releases. So any title that does have a prior release will have this prior releases option. You'll see when you click on it, it will list out the release number and the release date. And then you'll see this blue read. That's just going to take you to that specific release as it was on that date. So it does give you the option to go back to about 2011 in our prior releases. If you ever need something further back than 2011, feel free to reach out to me. Send a note to your librarians. They can always forward it on to me as well. And we'll be able to look through and see if our archives actually have an ebook version of it. A lot of times we do have stuff that's farther back than 2011. It just hasn't been completely added to the digital library at this point. So feel free to ask for it. Worst case scenario is it might not have been digitalized and I will still be able to try to find it for you. At the very bottom here is probably my favorite feature of the digital library. And that is this search this title feature. You're going to see this on every single volume within the digital library. It's going to allow you to search through the title you're looking at for keywords or a phrase that you're looking for prior to actually clicking read. So if you're not quite sure maybe which volume in this very large set you need to be opening, or if it's just a single standalone volume title, you can actually run a search for the specific information you're looking for to find out if that's even a volume that pertains to what you're currently researching. For instance, here I can search through all volumes. So this is a 56 volume set here. If I'm looking for, we'll go with rental agreements. I can run my search, look through all volumes, and you'll see on the right-hand side, it's going to pull up my search results. It'll tell me what volume, what section. As I scroll through, you'll see that it highlights and bolds my search terms for me. So I can quickly see where in context it's popping up. What's really nice is you'll see also this go to passage and share hyperlinks. Those are going to allow you to do a couple different things. The share hyperlink would allow you to share a link to this specific section. So right now we're looking, the one I'm just clicking on here, is volume 32, section 369.66. If I want, I can actually share a link to this section amongst other people that have access to this digital library. So it makes it really easy to share very specific sections rather than just a link to the whole volume. And the go to passage link is where you can click so that you can immediately jump into this section and start your research. If I click go to passage, it'll pop up. It's telling me how many days I can actually borrow this title for, and how many titles I can borrow at any given time or any one point. This is just really to let you know how many more titles you have available. If I click borrow, it's now going to open up this volume, or actually it'll open up volume 32 because that was the one search result I clicked on, and drop me directly to that section so that I don't have to run an additional search from that point. It does make it really easy to be able to run through very large volumes without having to waste time going through each and every one, trying to find what you're looking for. Now I've opened volume 32. You'll see that it highlights the section where my search terms pop up just to draw my eye to it. If you don't like that highlighting, you can easily just refresh your screen and it will get rid of it for you. But from here, we have a number of options available in this, what we would consider a read feature. It defaults to this 2-page view, almost like you would see if you had the book open on your desk. If you like a single page view instead, up at the top right, there's these 3 lines. If you click on that, you can click 1 page per screen, and it will immediately change that to a single page view rather than that double page view. Scrolling through, you'll notice that you can either click on the right or left-hand side of the screen. You can also use your forwards and backwards arrow keys. If you're on a mobile device like a tablet or a phone, you can either tap or swipe to move the pages forwards and backwards. So you do have a couple different options there. We also have up at the top here a list of keyboard commands. So if you like using those shortcuts, you can click on keyboard commands and you'll see a list of all of those shortcuts as well. Down at the very bottom are all of your menu options. You do have the ability to print from the digital library. You can print a physical copy of a chapter or print a PDF. We do give you those options. If you think you're going to be printing quite a bit, I do suggest using Google Chrome. It's going to give you the best ability when it comes to print features. However, any modern browser will work. So Edge Chromium, Safari, Firefox, all of those internet browsers will work with the digital library. The only thing that does not work is Internet Explorer. So if you still have a system that uses or defaults to an IE system or IE browser, just keep in mind that you'll have to actually open up a different browser in order to access the digital library. So again, you have the ability to print full sections of this text or multiple sections if you need to. You'll also have a link to the table of contents for this volume. So if you click on it, it will show you where you currently are within the digital library, or within this volume. You'll see that it highlights it here, but you can search through the table of contents just by typing in any of your search terms, and it will take you to that specific section. You can also click on any of the sections listed within the table of contents. They're all hyperlinked and will allow you just to jump from section to section right from here. You also have the ability to run a search. So if there is something other than rental agreements that you're looking for, you can click Find down at the bottom here and run through just this one volume. That's the difference between what we're looking at here and the search we ran before. The search we ran before on the digital library homepage was looking through all volumes within that set. Now, if we run a search, it's only going to look through the volume we currently have open, which was volume 32. Let me see, we'll go with rental fees. I'm going to run a search and it's going to pull up search results based off of my search terms. There was only one, which was pretty nice here. I can click on that and it's going to take me to that one match within this volume. If you have multiple matches, rather than it saying one match, it would tell you how many search matches came up. And you can actually use these arrow keys to jump from result to result. The biggest features probably used within this read functionality would probably be the ability to annotate and highlight full sections of these texts. You have that ability. We never touch your notes or highlights. They are unique to your login. So you can feel free to highlight and annotate as much as you want. Those notes and highlights are always available to you, and we make them available in multiple sections of the digital library. The first is always going to be here when you're in the title itself. But then on the homepage and throughout the digital library, you'll see different points where you can access all of your notes and highlights at any given time. If you know that you want to highlight, there's a couple different options. The first is just to take your cursor and click and drag what you're interested in highlighting. When you do, you'll see that you can add a note, copy with citation, copy passage link, define text, and find text. So we do give you some options here. You can click on add annotation and it will actually choose or allow you to put in whatever note you want and choose a highlighting color. So that's one way to do it. The other is if we just look at the bottom here, you'll see this highlight button. If you know you're going to be highlighting quite a bit throughout the text, you can actually set the highlight feature live first. So if I click on highlight, this option will pop up at the top. It defaults to highlight in this bright yellow color, but we have quite a few that you can choose from. So I know I happen to like highlighting different issues with different colors throughout my work. You have that ability to change it up throughout the text. If you click more, you'll see all of the highlighting options that you have access to. Today, let's just go purple. We'll go purple. It's a nice Monday color. And now as I scroll through, I can actually choose to highlight this section of text again. And when I do, it automatically highlights it because I've set that highlight feature live. And I can now add whatever note I want. So we'll say brief. I can also choose to copy a link to that passage. So again, if I know there's someone else that has access to this digital library and I want to send them a link to this very specific section, I can. And I can copy with citation. If you're familiar with the copy with cite feature in Lexis Advance, it's the same concept. It will actually allow you, to copy the section of text to a clipboard. And then when you paste it into either an email or a Word document, it will include the citation as well. So it's a nice little easy way to quickly copy that cite. Again, I can add as many notes and highlights as I want to these titles. No one will ever be able to see them. So even if someone else comes in and borrows this exact volume in a few days, they will see just a perfectly clean copy. They'll never be able to access any of the notes or highlights that you added. I'm going to click done. You'll see that it keeps that highlight. It also adds this little red sticky note icon, which is probably very small on your screens, but that's just a visual cue to let you know that you've added a note to this highlight, just as a quick reminder. I did mention that all of your notes and highlights are always available to you. If you're in the title itself, all you have to do is click on annotations, and you'll see that it pulls up the notes and highlights that you've added. So it'll tell you what color you highlighted it, what you highlighted, and then what note you added. So it does make it really easy just to quickly access any of the notes and highlights you've created within this volume. And you also have the ability to print. So there is a print feature. If you click print, you'll have the ability to print a physical copy or print a PDF. It's whatever you prefer, but just know that it's available within this volume. Finally, a couple other things to point out. You'll notice throughout the title that there's a number of hyperlinks. Anything you see hyperlinked in blue, those are going to be your chapters, your footnotes. Those would just link directly to different sections of this volume that you're currently in. However, anything you see hyperlinked in green, those are going to be primarily your cases and codes. Those would actually link out to that case or code within Lexis Advance. Now, if you're accessing the digital library remotely from home, chances are, if you don't have your own Lexis Advance login, it will just drop you to a sign-in page. However, you can reach out to your library staff, or you can reach out to me and just let me know if you need a specific case. I'd be happy to send that over your way. Also, if you have access to any other legal options, so say you have a West ID and password, you can actually just copy and paste the citation into whichever system you currently have access to. 9 times out of 10, it will pull that case or code up directly for you. But again, if you're on site within the library, it should link with the patron access options that you have available. If it does not, again, just reach out to either your library staff or myself. I'll be happy to send over that one case or code for you. And all you have to do is click on it. You never lose your spot within the digital library title itself. It just opens up a brand new tab, and then we'll drop you directly to that case or code that you clicked on, so that you can quickly start looking into any of the cited references within the title you happen to be looking at. Very last thing to point out are your settings. So how you view each of these titles is completely customizable. You have the ability to customize everything from the size of the font to the type of font. If you don't like the publisher's default, you can actually change that. You can change the background lighting. So we give you quite a few options to go ahead and customize how you're viewing each of these volumes. Just know that those are all up to you. We don't ever come in here and change any of those either. They will always just be at this publisher's default, but you do have the ability to come in and add whatever you, or change it to whatever is best for your individual preferences. I'm going to stop here because I know I just talked a lot. Are there any questions that you want me to answer at this point? We'll definitely have a lot, some time at the end too, so we can always answer questions then.
I don't have any questions in the chat so far.
Okay, perfect. I am going to close out of this volume. And when I do, that just takes me right back to where we left off, which were those search results for rental agreements that I happen to click into. I can choose another one if I want to jump into a different volume or a different result, or I can completely walk away from this volume. I'll go back to my homepage here, and you'll see that it has updated my recently read and my notes and highlights to include everything we just did. And under my tags, you'll see that California practice tag that I created as well. I got to that volume again just by going to Browse Library and jumping into one of those curated collections. However, up at the top, no matter where you are in the digital library, is always going to be the search bar. That search bar is going to allow you to type in a title, an author, a subject, whatever it is you're looking for. And it's only going to look through title information, so it won't actually look through the content of any one of these volumes. But if you knew you were looking for everything on, we'll stay with the rental information. If you wanted to look for everything on real estate law, I can type in real estate, and it's going to take me to every single volume that deals with real estate or real property within your digital library. This first results page is going to say that I have 65 titles available. That's expanding out every single volume within a multi-volume set. So you'll see California Real Estate Law and Practice, Volume 1, Volume 2, so on and so forth, is expanded out. If you prefer to see everything grouped together as a set or as sets, you can click where it says sets, and you'll see all of this put together as sets as well. So it's really up to you. You get to choose how you view any of these volumes. You also can filter out results. So you can filter by jurisdiction, practice area, content type to really narrow down those results. And over on the right-hand side, it defaults to sort by relevance, but you can sort by release date or title as well, however you prefer to see these results. Again, I can go in here, and if I'm looking at sets, I can choose to view the entire set. Similar to that book details page that we looked at before, it'll tell you how many volumes are in a set, what edition we're looking at. Down below here, you can see every single volume, so you can jump into any other volume that you might need to. And up at the top, you'll see a table of contents. It starts with volume 1, but you can actually choose any of the volumes, so you can view the table of the hyperlink table of contents for any volume within the set right from here. And that search list set is available down below. So just like before, you can run a search for anything you're looking for. Rent control, search for that. And again, it's going to show you those same types of results over on your right-hand side. And just like before, you can choose whichever result you want and jump right into it. So those are a couple different ways you can look for different titles within the digital library. Again, that search bar is always going to be there. It will remember your searches as you go through. So if you want to jump back into a recent search, you have that ability right from here. On the left, I just want to talk pretty quickly about a few of the other options you have access to. The My Books feature, when I click on that, is going to take a look at everything you've ever borrowed from the digital library. It starts with your most recent borrows, but as you scroll down, you'll see everything you've ever borrowed from the digital library. This is just a larger list than what we're able to put on that homepage where your recently read pops up. One really nice feature is if you've borrowed a title and you now know you're done with it, you can return it early. When you come into My Books, you'll see on the right-hand side here, this little clock icon. When you click on that, it's going to tell you that you've borrowed this title and you have so many days until it expires. If you're done with it, you can go ahead and return it. And that way, if someone else has placed a hold, it will immediately go to that next person in line. If you completely forget, so if you have borrowed a title and forget to return it, it's okay. After that 7 days, it will just automatically go back into circulation. So the next person in line would be able to take it. I'm going to return that just so you can see it, but it does immediately return the title. And then the next person who wants it can automatically grab it. Last thing to really talk about are your notes and highlights. I did mention that they are always available to you. So even if someone else has already or has gone in and checked out that title you added notes and highlights to, they are still always available for you to access. Again, you can access them through the homepage, or if you click on My Annotations, that's going to show you a list of every title you've ever added notes and highlights to, how many notes you've added. You can jump into any one just by clicking onto it. So if we look at the one we just added, it's going to tell me that, I highlighted it in purple. This is what I highlighted, what notes I added, the citation, and when I created it. These three dots on the right will show you a couple different options. You can copy the annotation. So if all you want to do is copy and paste, you can. It's very simple. However, if you want to add it to your export queue, this is where you're going to find a few other options available. So I'm going to just do that. What's really amazing is that you have the ability to add multiple notes and highlights from multiple titles across multiple releases to your queue. And we really give you that option so that you can have the ability to organize your notes and highlights to the best of what your needs are. So I'm going to just add this one to my queue as well, so you get the idea. So I've added a couple from different volumes. I'm now going to go over to my export queue. And you'll see that I've added those two. Again, I can add as many as I want. So if I have 100 different notes and highlights from 20 different volumes, I can add them all to my queue. And what's really nice is once I've done that, I have the ability to search through my queue. So if there's something specific I'm looking for amongst all of my notes and highlights, I can run a search for a keyword or a phrase that I'm looking for, and it will actually pull out that search term from the notes and highlights that I've added to really pick and choose which notes I'm interested in maybe downloading or copying at that point. I can also choose how to customize what notes and highlights I'm downloading and what format I'm downloading them to. I can pick and choose which ones I like, or I can just choose all of them right at the top here. And when I do that, a couple options pop up. Again, I can always copy and paste, but if I click export, that's where my options pop up. So I have the ability to download to a Google Drive account, a PDF, a CSV Excel file. So we do give you a few more options other than just copying and pasting when it comes to organizing your notes and highlights. I'm going to exit out of here and just remove these from my queue. But again, all of those notes and highlights are always available. They're unique to you and no one else will ever touch them. So just keep that in mind. Feel free to add as many as you like throughout any title on the digital library. Last little thing to point out are the My Tags. Again, you can create as many tags as you want. You can name them whatever you want. You can add as many titles to a tag as you like. If you want to access them, you can always just click on My Tags, or you'll find them on the homepage as well. You can click into any of the tags and jump into that one volume or one of the volumes you've tagged it with. Again, it's just a really easy way to access those volumes you're going to access over and over again without having to constantly run a search for them. I can also edit my notes and highlights. I can edit my tags from here as well. So if I want to rename them or delete them, this is where I can go to do that. That is just a real thorough run through of the digital library. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Okay.